Hey, did you know that the Torture Pod has merch? Yeah. Over at redbubble.com/people/torturepod, we have a whole bunch of different items that you can wear, adorn on your phone or your computer or your car to show your love for torture. We have Brazen Bull t-shirts. You can have the torture logo on a mug. Guild Array on Hat Day on a hat, if that's what you choose. Welcome to Latumba shower curtains. I mean, literally, anything you want. iPhone cases with sort your fucking life out on them. I mean, how much better does it get? And remember, all Pride merch sold, profits go directly to the Trevor Project. So you're also helping people in the process of showing your love for the podcast. So go to redbubble.com/people/torturepod. And as all the kids these days say, get your fit on, bro. I don't know if that's what they say or not. I'm not cool. The subject of today's episode will be the impact of the War of 1812 and the Great Creek War that happened at the same time. We'll see the expansion of an agricultural powerhouse and the discovery that will accelerate encroachment onto native land and push the state of Georgia to enact new racist laws. We'll meet four of the most important individuals on the side of the native tribes and the man they will do battle with for their lands. And we'll hear of an entire tribe that will be forced to travel hundreds of miles and lose thousands of men, women, and children to exposure and disease. On our second episode of The Trail of Tears. I'm Kevin Young.
And I'm still fucking melting.
And this is Torture.
Hi, I'm still melting. I'm Dan.
Funny. Oh, shit. So what have you been doing since the last time we talked, Dan?
Coffee. Cigarettes. This literally could have been 6 weeks, or could have been 20 minutes.
True.
Sweating my balls off.
Yeah. It's starting to get warmer in here now that the sun's up in the sky and beating down on us.
It started raining again.
Yeah.
When I was outside, went out, walked out the door. It was beautiful and sunny. Still overly hot. Nice breeze. And then next thing out of nowhere, rain.
Yeah.
I was like, for fuck's sake. And now it's not again when I'm back inside.
It's been the same thing. It would be dry throughout the day, and then I'm on my way home from work. All I see is lightning in the distance. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. Whole house is just going to start sliding down the road here not too long from all the fucking... All right, well... I guess we'll just get straight to it.
Yeah, talk about the poor natives and
poor natives. I mean, really, honestly, we joke around, but honestly, it is poor fucking natives. Yeah. Now, when we last left off, William Henry Harrison had just negotiated the Treaty of Fort Wayne after practically erasing Prophetstown from the map, setting up the stage for the War of 1812. And why is the War of 1812, essentially a dispute over trade and national sovereignty, important to the story leading up to the Trail of Tears? Well, because in the American frontier, settlers were continuing to push into native nations' territory, And those tribes, mostly Shawnee, Potawatomi, Kickapoo, Wyandotte, and Ottawa, were determined to defend those lands. And with the rumor of British influence over the natives, the American military decided pretty quickly that the two were both threats to American progression and safety. So when the war broke out fully on American soil, Tecumseh allied directly with the British. This didn't work out well for the Indian Confederacy he was trying to build. Just a year after the war started, Tecumseh would be killed at the Battle of Thames, and the whole thing fell apart. Without their leader, all the tribes just kind of went back to how they were doing things before. This guy says that we should all band together and sell land with one another. It's all our land. Oh, he's dead. Well, fuck it. Never mind. We tried. What are you going to do? Guy's
Put
dead.
in our best effort.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Put my best foot forward. It's like, I didn't want to do it anyway. I was just here because I owed him money. Now he's dead. I don't owe him money anymore. I'm going back home. Now, at the same time as the War of 1812, there was an eruption of native-on-native fighting known as the Creek War. Basically a Muskogee civil war between the Upper Creeks, a.k.a. the Red Sticks, who reside in present-day Alabama, and opposed the assimilation into American culture, and the Lower Creeks, who resided in the river valleys of Georgia and Florida and had assimilated much more into American culture. Calling Indians, Native Americans, Red Sticks feels racist. I don't know if they called themselves that or if white people call them that. Feels racist.
Yeah.
I mean, they may have called themselves that. I don't know, but that's just what they were known as. Now, so a Tennessee militia launched an offensive against the Red Sticks, led by the man that will get the blame/credit for the later removal of the Native Americans, General Andrew Jackson. They, along with their native allies, which included a faction of Cherokee, Choctaw, and Chickasaw, crushed the Red Stick resistance, and the war concluded with the Treaty of Fort Jackson, forcing the Muskogee to cede over 20 million acres of land, accelerating U.S. expansion to the southeast and elevating Jackson's prominence. And by the time the War of 1812 was over, just a year later, Britain, big surprise here, almost completely abandoned the Native Americans, leaving them to battle the American settlers and government all on their own.
Jeez, they haven't done that before or since. To anywhere that they colonized or took over and then fucked up. And
yeah, they're really good in going in and
taking
taking over a place. So. But once things start getting hot, once things start getting hard, they're like, fine, we'll go. Not in Ireland, though.
Once
it took a long time. Took a long time for the Irish to be a pain in their ass before they finally said, fine.
No, we were actually a pain in the ass several times. It just happened to work once. It nearly came to fruition actually back during your revolution. We took advantage of that happening.
As you should have.
It didn't really work out too well. But then, it was World War One then. Took full advantage then. And that's why it ended up working technically. So,
I mean, it only needs to work once.
Well, that's it.
Honestly. Yeah.
Try
as many times as you can. It only has to work once. Yeah. Now, there are several reasons as to why white Americans insisted on claiming native land. One of the major reasons was the explosion of the cotton industry.
I was going to say entitlement, but...
yeah, that too. With the invention of the cotton gin just 20 or so years earlier, cotton production became highly profitable, and demand soared after the war because Europeans wanted that cushy, soft fabric. So planters throughout the South needed new farmland, and the most fertile soil lay within the territories of the 5 civilized tribes. So pressure increased on the government to make those lands more available to the farmers. And I mean, They're nothing but a bunch of godless, illiterate savages, right? So just fucking take their land. Well, it just so happens that at the same time as the cotton boom, many of these tribes began adopting more to the American society because they believed that it would strengthen claims to their homeland. They expanded commercial agriculture, raised livestock, established schools, adopted written laws, and pushed for literacy. Christian missionaries came to preach the good word, and some of the tribe leaders embraced them. The Cherokee were the front runners in building institutions that resembled those of the greater United States, hoping that demonstrating their ability to function as a sovereign, organized nation would convince Americans to respect the treaties. It's like they didn't know us at all.
So maybe it'll be different this time.
Yeah. I mean,
holding on
hope. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing. They keep doing the same thing. Well, we'll just adapt more into the society. We'll adopt more of their things, and then maybe they'll leave us alone. Nope, not going to do it. Okay, well, we'll do it a little bit more. It's like, listen, it's not going to fucking happen. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
See all that land back there? It's going to be mine, whether you want it to happen or not. Get used to it. That's it's kind of what it boiled down to. So there would be more and more treaties signed, more and more native lands ceded to white America, the government portraying them as, quote, voluntary exchanges that would secure peace and protection. And some families did choose to migrate west at this point, encouraged by the government's promise of new lands beyond the Mississippi. Now, we've heard plenty of the Cherokee and the Creek and the Choctaw and the Chickasaw, but what about the Seminoles? Well, most Seminoles were good on their lands through most of the U.S. expansion. That is, until 1820, when Spain, with the Adams-Onis Treaty, ceded the state of Florida to the U.S. As long as Florida belonged to Spain, it provided a buffer against American expansion and a refuge for people escaping U.S. control, including runaway slaves and native groups fleeing conflict. Once Florida became American territory, the Seminoles found themselves directly in the path of U.S. expansion. American settlers quickly demanding more land, and in 1823, the Treaty of Moultrie Creek forced the Seminoles onto a reservation in central Florida. Now, the Seminoles will not go down without a fight, but that's a little bit down the road.
Fair play.
Yes. The Seminoles are the ones that are going to stand up and go, fuck you, and just start killing people. So we got that coming up, I believe, on the next episode. Now, we could go on with treaty after treaty, war after war. But to get a more full scope and understanding of this long, twisty story, there are many people that we need to meet. Mainly Major Ridge, John Ross, and Elias Boudinot. There's also Pushmatata, Osceola, and William McIntosh, but let's focus on the main four from the Cherokee first. Now, Major Ridge, born Ganudlagegi sometime in the 1770s, rose quickly to prominence as a young man as being a fierce warrior. Growing up during this period of constant struggle and battles with Americans and natives, he earned a reputation for courage and leadership, becoming one of the most respected men in the Cherokee Nation. But just because he was a warrior didn't mean he was adverse to change. As the nation adapted, so did he, becoming a wealthy farmer, slave owner, and supporter of education and modernization, pushing for Cherokees to show that they could thrive alongside the United States as a sovereign nation. He fought in the Creek War right next to Andrew Jackson against the Red Sticks, playing an important role in the decisive battle of Horseshoe Bend, where around 800 Upper Creeks were killed. The Cherokee had a long-standing rivalry with some Creek factions, and by siding with the U.S. and Lower Creeks, they hoped that cooperation would secure protection. It didn't, but it's a nice try. But throughout the 1820s, Major would work to oppose removal and support efforts to strengthen the Cherokee Nation politically and economically. And he did much of this with one-time friend, later not so much, John Ross. John, born in 1790, to a Scottish father and Cherokee mother, making him what many Americans at the time called a mixed blood, or as all you Harry Potter fans would call a mudblood.
Mudblood.
You fucking
Did he
racist.
have red hair and red skin? That would be some combination.
That'd be fucking funny as shit.
That would be unbelievable. Pay say that.
Now, he was fully accepted as a Cherokee through his mother's clan, as Cherokee society traditionally traced identity through the maternal line. Now, because of his lineage, he grew up speaking both Cherokee and English, making him comfortable navigating both worlds. And unlike other Cherokee leaders, John Ross wouldn't come to prominence as a warrior, but as a businessman, diplomat, and political leader, working with American officials and being known for his intelligence, patience, and the ability to negotiate with non-native leaders. His importance, like Major Ridge, would come during the Creek War, serving as a diplomat to the U.S. for the Cherokee and becoming increasingly involved in treaty negotiations and national politics. He, agreeing with Ridge, believed that demonstrating the Cherokee's national stability and sophistication would help protect its rights. Again, it doesn't. But you gotta try. I mean, you can't not try.
Yeah. Best foot forward, as you said.
Now, John Ridge was the son of Major Ridge, born around 1802. He attended mission schools and became one of the best educated Cherokee men of the era. Like John Ross, he was fluent in both languages and could easily operate in either society. He would be the poster child for what American officials claimed they wanted to see the native tribes become. He, like his father and John Ross, initially opposed removal and worked to strengthen Cherokee sovereignty. Supported the Cherokee Nation's constitutional government. He became a part of a younger generation of Cherokee leaders who were highly educated and politically active, along with his cousin, Elias Boudinot, who was born Galaniga. Elias, just like his cousin, attended mission school and learned English, later adopting the name Elias Boudinot in honor of prominent supporter of native education, and along with his cousin became interested in politics and worked to secure Cherokee Nation's future. So, now that we have these four major players in the game, all fighting diligently through diplomacy to keep their lands by showing that the native tribes can adapt and assimilate, and 4 out of the 5, not so much the Seminoles, had been doing just that, then came the Treaty of Doak's Stand.
What? Dokes?
Doak's. D-O-A-K''S. Doak's Stand. The Choctaw were being pressured for more and more of their land because of the cotton explosion. And the Choctaw were fed the same old bullshit of give me this much so you can keep the rest. Now I know what you might be saying. For fuck's sake, stop signing treaties with the Americans. And, I mean,
yes.
In theory, that's what we're all saying. Stop signing treaties with the fucking Americans.
Every time they slide over the table, like, this time's different. This time's different.
Yeah. It's your traditional bad relationship, red flags all over the place. Baby, I'll never do it to you again. I swear I learned my lesson. Just sign this treaty, and I swear all this land can be yours. I'll just keep this for myself. And then 2 weeks later, you find them in bed with their secretary. God damn it. So yes, you would like to say stop signing treaties with the Americans, but you have to look at the bigger picture. Because the U.S. government, and by correlation the U.S. military, was becoming more powerful every year. Settlers were not going to stop demanding more land, and the treaties weren't stopping them from encroaching on native land anyways. The government was offering not just compensation, which they had offered before, but now new territory. So either sign the treaty and get land and get paid, or the settlers would take your land anyway and you would get nothing. So they signed, with the promise from the U.S. that the lands west of the Mississippi in modern day Arkansas would be fertile and serve as new permanent home for any Choctaw that wished to, again, voluntarily relocate. White America saw this as a fair exchange. The Choctaw, not so much. Like, why are we doing this? Going over there.
And he slides another piece of paper over the table.
I'm going to write a number.
Look at this.
On this piece of paper. I'm going to slide it over to you. You tell me what you think.
It says 0.
All this says is get the fuck out. Yeah, that's my offer. See,
America.
Fuck yeah. The Choctaw sent a delegation over to what was now Arkansas to check the area out.
Go to
after they signed the treaty. Really should have done it before they signed the treaty.
Was it but sight unseen? Sight unseen, as they say.
As is, or best offer. Now, when the delegation from the tribe came back, they let everybody know that this, what was supposed to be wonderful land they had received, was poor farmland, extremely rocky, with sketchy hunting opportunities, and the worst of all, there were already tribes living there. They were giving them land that already belonged to somebody.
That's
the Osage, yeah, the Caddo, the Quapaw, and the Cherokee that had moved out there because that land had been granted to them through an earlier treaty. What land can we give them? We'll give them that one. We already gave that land to somebody. Do it again.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. What are they going to do? Come back and go, no?
They get what they're given and they'll like it.
Pretty much, because when Push Madaha, who is regarded as the greatest of all Choctaw chiefs, returned and complained to federal officials and tried to get better terms, he was pretty much told, sorry, nothing we can do now. Deal with it. There's already people living in my house. Again, it's Israel and Palestine.
But that's it.
It's pretty much it.
Well, it kind of, yeah. There's some similarities, all right, but it's more like if the natives turned around and were like, "Hey, you're having a bit of trouble there, new Americans, come over here. You have here, we'll take care of you." And then they go, "Yeah, cool." And the Americans are sitting there and they're like, "You know what? This is bullshit. We shouldn't be here. We want to be over there where they are." So then they go pushing it out.
Yeah.
It's close enough. But yeah. It's just funny though.
So
that's why y'all won't get involved in that whole shit.
It would be nice. The only time we should get involved is like if there's
oil,
like a genocide going on and we stop that genocide. So we should be involved. It's just on the other side of it. Yeah. We should be stopping the people committing the genocide.
That's it.
Not helping.
Those in glass houses and all that jazz.
Get involved. Just do the exact opposite of what you're currently doing. Now, what's so important about all this is that it convinced many American officials that getting the tribes to agree to give up their land for land in the West was doable. It's like, I mean, it's not what they wanted and they're complaining about it, but they still signed the fucking paperwork. So
because they couldn't read the fucking paperwork.
We're probably going to get away with whatever we want. Now, while all this is happening, state leaders in Georgia increasingly viewed tribal sovereignty as an obstacle to economic development and political control. The Cherokee Nation maintained its own laws, courts, and leadership, and Georgia officials resented the existence of what they considered an independent government operating within the state's borders, which is what they were. But that's what they're supposed to be. They're their own nation.
That, and they were in existence before. Like, I mean, you can't just turn around and be like,
yeah,
that's like me going over to France and just drawing a big line around Paris. You know, and just being like, yeah, you can't be there anymore.
That's me going to my neighbor's house and then just building a bigger house over the top of it.
Yeah.
And being like,
what are you doing?
You can't have rules in that house. Ew, rules are only in my house. That's what it is.
Oh, God. Land of the free, eh?
Well, we feel like they're an independent nation within our state's borders. That's exactly what they fucking are.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to be. Now, while federal treaties recognize Cherokee sovereignty, many Georgia politicians argued that state authority should extend over all land within Georgia's claim boundaries. This conflict between federal treaty obligation and state ambition would become one of the central political battles of the next decade. By the mid-1820s, Georgia's leaders were becoming increasingly vocal in demanding the eventual removal of the Cherokee. Don't forget, the Cherokee aren't the only ones in Georgia. The Muskogee are there as well. And in 1825, the Creek leader, William McIntosh, decided to sign the Treaty of Indian Springs, which surrendered most remaining Creek land in Georgia to the United States for around $200,000. The problem was that McIntosh had not received authorization from the Creek National Council to make such a sale. Under Creek law, national land could not be sold by an individual leader acting alone. Many Creeks viewed the treaty as an illegal betrayal. Shortly afterwards, a force of roughly 120 to 170 Creek warriors rode to McIntosh's plantation near present-day Whitesburg, Georgia. And before dawn on April 30th, they surrounded the house. Now, accounts differ somewhat, but the general order of events went like this. The warriors surround the property, and McIntosh is given little or no opportunity to escape. The house was then set on fire. McIntosh attempted to flee, or while he was still inside, depending on the source, he was shot multiple times. The attackers let the house burn to the ground. Several other men associated with the treaty were also targeted. Some were killed, others escaped. Now, the incident shocked many Americans. Newspapers portrayed it as savage violence, but from the Creek perspective, it was a political execution. Keep this in mind, that when a treaty is signed without the approval of the majority of the tribe, bad things happen. Foreshadowing.
Yeah. I think it's all been foreshadowing.
This might come up again later. Now, in 1827, the Cherokee adopted a written constitution, one of the most remarkable political developments in Native American history. With the Constitution, the nation formally created a government with executive, legislative, and judicial branches, giving them the proof that they were indeed a sovereign nation capable of governing themselves. And at the center of this new government, John Ross, who became the dominant political leader of the nation, being voted the new chief of the Cherokee the next year. This did not go over well with Georgia politicians, just so you know. So we have a whole nation living inside our state, and now they have a constitution and judges and all that shit. Yes, yeah. That's what it is. Yeah, they're not fans. Not fans at all. So,
I wonder why.
Maybe. So, how would an announcement like a new constitution or new treaties or meeting times be made to the people of the nation? Well, for that, we meet a man by the name of Sequoyah. No, he wasn't named after the tree. The tree was actually named after him. Now, born sometime between 1760 and 1770, Sequoyah, often known to whites as George Guess, noticed that Americans could communicate across great distances through written word.
Podcasts.
Yeah. He invented the first podcast. Yep. He's who we have to blame.
Welcome to WNBC Indian Radio, giving you all the latest updates on all those bullshit things you keep signing.
Welcome to a new episode of Treaties, and More Treaties. Which ones are we signing today? Just having game shows on their podcast. You can get this answer right, you get your treaty all to yourself.
If I give you 6 treaties, and I back out of the deal on every single one of those treaties,
how many treaties
you get a 7th treaty. Damn Americans.
Carrying information, laws, business transactions, and news, he realized that the Cherokee lacked a written system capable of preserving their language in the same way. And he decided to change that. So around 1809, he created a syllabary, a writing system in which each symbol represents a syllable rather than a letter. And after years of experimentation, he produced 86 symbols to represent every spoken word in the Cherokee language. Within a few years, thousands of Cherokee were able to read and write in their own language. In fact, literacy rates in the nation soon surpassed many white communities. Go figure.
Well, they are down south for most
That's
of it,
true.
so it's still the same today. So
that's true.
Yeah, like I said already, the only 3 letters any of them know are US and A, so...
Well, you gotta think, this was something new for the Cherokee, and they wanted to learn it because these are things that they wanted to know. Most white settlers, they're like, that boy don't need to know how to read and write, he needs to know how to plow a field.
Yeah. He only needs to know Jesus.
He's no making love to his sister and giving me old cross-eyed grandbabies.
I know what the symbols were. There's spades, there's hearts, there's clubs, there's diamonds. And that's how the first casino was made. Let thebeardstruggle.com cream all over your beard.
What?
With the Beard Struggles All New Beard Cream.
Oh, thank God.
Now everybody can get nice and creamy.
I think what he means to say is that with ingredients like glycerin and shea butter, avocado, and jojoba oils, it's perfect for everyone, anytime.
Night, day, hot, cold. You're gonna get that cream.
Okay. And hydrolonic acid ensures deep hydration without the grease for a long beard or just some scruff.
Creamy scruff without the grease.
Dude, gotta stop. And as always, use our exclusive discount code TORTURE19 and take up to 19% off at checkout.
Getting creamy and taking it off.
Okay, we need to end this. TheBeardStruggle.com. Do what's right for your beard. Do what's right for your face.
Sort your sexy, creamy fucking beard out.
Oh, boy. Wow. Now, most writing systems evolve over centuries or adapted from early scripts. Sequoyah pretty much invented an entire system, and then within just a few years, the Cherokee learned it. And in February 1828, it led to the publication of the Cherokee Phoenix, a Cherokee newspaper printed in both Cherokee and English, and was edited by Elias Boudinot. It served as an official national voice to report tribal news, advocate for sovereignty, and inform both Cherokee citizens and non-native readers. And one of the biggest stories it would cover was one that would ultimately lead to its downfall. Not a whole lot of ways to get really rich or even well off in the southeastern part of the country at this time, save for a lucky few. There wasn't much industry, and only so much could be made by farming.
It's just because they're all moonshining. That's what it is.
But
the French
then
hadn't brought the beignets over yet.
What are these delicious golden nuggets of dough covered in powdered sugar? I call them Bennetts.
Yeah.
Bennetts. No, that's not French enough. And in 1828, the thing that could change that for dozens, if not hundreds, they found gold.
I was going to say Jesus. But...
Isn't it the same thing, though, Brother Dan? Isn't it the same thing, finding gold, just like finding Jesus? And finding Jesus, just like finding gold.
Lovely warmth in your soul.
Let's say a prayer.
No, thank you.
Apparently, they found a lot of it. According to Trail of Tears, The Rise and Fall of the Cherokee Nation, the stuff was fucking everywhere. Just sitting on top of the ground, shimmering in riverbeds, ripe for the taking. And by 1829, thousands of prospective miners from all around the eastern half of the country started showing up, building mining camps, and taking out about $2,000 a day in mined gold. Yeah,
Shit.
I mean, you went there as a pauper and you came out pretty fucking rich.
Yeah.
And the Cherokee Phoenix reported on the consequences, complaining about the influx of miners and settlers and describing the abuses being committed by trespassers. Yes, there was illegal mining on Cherokee land, but they would also steal livestock and crops, harass and try to intimidate the native people. And the state of Georgia didn't do much better. In December of 1829, Georgia passed a series of laws that effectively stripped the Cherokee Nation of its ability to govern itself. Cherokee laws were declared void within Georgia's claimed boundaries. Cherokee government authority was undermined, and Georgia courts asserted jurisdiction over Cherokee territory. Then the state passed laws forbidding Cherokee people from mining gold on their own land, while simultaneously claiming authority over the gold fields. It's like, I found gold in my front yard. You can't have that. That belongs to me.
I was going to say, hell, you can't even have the soil.
No.
Those things.
Governor George Rockingham Gilmer argued that the gold belonged to Georgia and sought injunctions to stop Cherokees from digging gold in their own territory.
Did you say George Dickhead Gilmer? Is that what you just said?
Yes, pretty much. Then they used a lottery system to randomly distribute plots of gold-rich land to eligible white citizens. Natives and blacks need not apply. All while the Cherokee still live there. The winners would receive deeds to land that families still lived on. It's mine. It's mine now.
This is the most American thing we've ever talked about.
It's infuriating.
It is very similar to the British too. That's the thing. You know.
It's
like walking over.
Well, I mean,
there. Mine.
They're just the seagulls from Finding Nemo.
Mine.
Mine. Just put them all in red coats.
It's a great way to summarize two nations right there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. And then
we learn
all
from
over everything.
We learned from our colonist daddy.
Yeah.
You know? They taught us how to do it, and then that's what we went and did. We just didn't travel overseas to do it. We just did it to the people who are already here. So you guys are making it too tough. You're going all the way over there to do it. We got plenty of people here we can disenfranchise.
God damn it. Yeah, funny way to talk about that. We get rid of all the people out here in Cavan. That'd be a great thing to do. Goddamn Cavan.
Now, this was one of the major factors that went into the government finally pushing for removal of all natives east of the Mississippi. But the biggest influence came just a few months later with the election of Andrew Jackson. So Andrew, no middle name Jackson, really weird, no fucking middle name, was born in 1767 in the back country of the Carolinas. He served as a courier for the patriotic cause as a teenager during the Revolutionary War. He lost both his brothers and his mother at the age of 14, leaving him orphaned. He eventually would move to Tennessee and become a lawyer, speculator, slave owner, and politician. Now, I'm not going to ever stick up for Andrew Jackson. He was far from what you would call a good man.
Well, lawyer, politician, slave owner.
So I guess I'm repeating myself then. He expanded slavery,
orphan, fucking hate those people.
Arrested critics, censored oppositions, and detained a federal judge that challenged him after declaring martial law after the Battle of New Orleans. And yes, by all accounts, he was a racist piece of shit.
Yeah,
but
I can assume so.
Most white people at this time in the South were racist pieces of shit.
Most of them still are.
True. So he wasn't really an outlier in that sense. He would fit in today. Trust me, I looked all around for evidence that he was just this horrible, nasty man that wanted all the Indians dead and buried, hoping beyond hope that they would all just die on their way to their new home. That's not really the case. Jackson had a lot of interactions with Native Americans. He fought against them in the Creek War, but he also fought alongside them in that same war. Throughout his entire military career, he participated in conflicts against the Native tribes, witnessed raids, and frontier violence.
I was going to say, he just sent them out first. You see, he had them as Operation Human Shield.
Yeah, pretty much. It was fucking glory. Send out the black people to die. Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, sorry.
He was one of the officials that wrote out the Treaty of Fort Jackson. I mean, he's had a lot of...
So you say that as if he wrote a treaty, as if it's a good thing, considering what we've learned all about their treaties.
This is true.
That, you know, I'm not going to take that as any form of argument.
He had a lot of interaction with Native Americans up until this point.
Yeah, and Hitler had an awful lot of interactions with Jewish people too. So,
That's true. That's true. That's true. Very true. But Jackson wasn't calling for the extermination of the Indians. He just wanted them moved out of the way. Because he didn't loathe the natives like many thinks he did. He just viewed them the same way most whites in the South at the time viewed them. That they were in the way of expansion,
an
invasive in the way of progress.
Species.
In the way of the American government. I mean, technically, we were the invasive species.
No, that's what I mean. That's why I said ironically.
Oh, yeah. He just wanted them gone so America could expand more. And don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
America could have more freedom.
Yeah.
Get rid of those guys.
We need more freedom. How do we do that?
Displace these people.
By displacing these people. How do we get more freedom? Taking their freedoms away is what gives me more freedom. Yeah, exactly. That's a common theme of what's going on right now.
Less of them there are, the more guns I can have. Let's go.
Those people have rights to do this. That means I don't have the rights. Take their rights away because I want more rights. I think a lot of people think that's how it works. It's not pie. Just because somebody else has rights doesn't mean you have less. Fuck's sake. Don't get me wrong. He was a piece of shit. He does push for, in reality, an unknowable amount of indigenous people to be forced from their ancestral home. And he does some pretty sketchy things as president as far as overreaching his power. He's kind of the blueprint of what Trump looks at to, well, how far can I take my presidency before they, slap me on the hand and tell me no, which is apparently pretty fucking far.
So he's like a kid reaching for a hot stove and you keep telling him no and you keep going. Like that, like kids do that.
If Trump was reaching for a hot stove, I'd just let him do it, though.
Oh, I'm sure I'd push him towards it.
It's more like Trump's reaching for another porn star to have an affair with on his wife, and we're saying, don't do that. Stop it. She doesn't want that. Nobody wants that. Your wife doesn't want that. So, Anyway, if you're looking to go into this just like I did, searching for a classic cartoon villain laughing maniacally while he twirls his finger through his handlebar mustache, explaining how he plans on killing all these damn natives, then you're going to end up just like I did. Disappointed. Because that just wasn't the case. I'm not going to say that he gets a bad rap.
He's very much of his time, is kind of the point.
And he is a kind
everyone
of
was a racist, bigoted asshole.
True.
Back then. So.
But he does have the power to either say, leave these people alone or push them out further. And he decides to push them out further. And later, when we'll see in the next episode, when the Supreme Court sides with the Native Americans and says, technically, you signed a treaty, they have a point. He says, well, you know what? Fuck the Supreme Court. If you want to enforce your rule that ruling, you go right ahead. I'm going to let Georgia do whatever the fuck they want. So he is a piece of shit. He's just not the.
You just ruined the ending of the next episode, Kevin. Great work. The Titanic sinks in the end, people.
I ruined the middle. I ruined the middle of the.
Native Americans episode. Don't win.
If you didn't know yet,
yeah,
Native Americans don't win. Rocky loses his first match.
He has actually got a pretty shit record, to be fair.
Yeah, Darth Vader is Luke's father.
What?
Gandalf the Grey does die, but he has to in order to come back as Gandalf the White. We could go on.
Yeah.
Now, he was seen as a hero after the War of 1812, and he would use that fame to garner a political reputation as a champion of ordinary white voters against the political elites. And after being just barely beaten by John Quincy Adams in 1824, he would win by a landslide in 1828. Now, before we move on to the next treaty the U.S. will not honor, or the next discovery that will cost the tribes more land, I want to say that yes, so far it seems like all this was in the early to mid 1800s was nothing but legal battles and treaties signed with the occasional war thrown in here or there. And yes, many in the nations, especially those near the top, the ridges, John Ross, tried to do everything through diplomacy that they could. But no, do not misinterpret this. The southeast part of the United States was a very violent place. The leaders of all the nations tried to keep their hands clean, and the U.S. government tried to keep their hands relatively clean. But the citizens of these nations, they would many times take matters into their own hands. There were countless fights, conflicts, and outright murders happening all over native lands. One of the sons of Pathkiller, one of the Cherokee chiefs, was murdered in a land dispute with a white man. Creek families trying to stay on their allotments after the Treaty of Cusseta were constantly being confronted by speculators, with numerous fights breaking out when settlers tried to seize land. Sometimes the settlers were killed, sometimes the Creek. So don't think, oh, this is all political bullshit. It's just the political bullshit is what we have documentation of.
Yeah, there's nothing.
We can only really report on stuff that we know.
Yeah, stuff that wasn't scrubbed from history to make America not look quite as bad as they have been.
Exactly. But there were always skirmishes, fights, conflicts, all-out murders going on in the Mississippi, Florida, Georgia area of the country. It just was, especially like in the Appalachian Mountain areas where it was more wooded and people could kind of get away with it better. People were getting murdered left and right.
That's where Fallout is based. Know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now back to Jackson.
Shithole.
He takes office March 1829 with the idea of moving the tribes off their land, the centerpiece of his administration. He sided pretty heavily with Georgia and the new laws that they had established targeting the Cherokee Nation and their new constitution. He saw the removal of all indigenous tribes as the best practical solution to what he viewed as an unsolvable conflict between tribal sovereignty and state authority. So he got to work. It's very solvable.
Leave them alone.
That first treaty you signed way back in the early 1800s, go back to that one.
Do you remember that time when you stepped off that boat?
Yeah.
And you're going to go, somebody else already lives here. Maybe we should just let them live there.
Yeah. Is there any land that isn't being used up that we might pop a tent on? Maybe some sleeping bags? We'll stay there. And then it probably should have just stayed like that. But that's not how humans operate.
No.
Especially
sadly not.
Yeah.
They need to bring freedom, you see. That's what it was.
Yeah. Now, he sided pretty much... I already said that. He saw the removal of indigenous tribes. Okay, now I found my spot. I lost my spot there for a second. So he got to work on legislation that would do just that, putting forth the idea that Eastern tribes could receive land west of the Mississippi and be able to preserve their cultures away from state interference. However, there were many, i.e. missionaries, politicians, and newspaper editors, that tried to remind the new administration that the native nations already had a treaty-guaranteed right to their lands. Technically, they had several treaty-guaranteed right to their lands, but who's counting? One of the politicians that stood opposed to the bill that would force natives off their land, a famous frontiersman and congressman, Davy Crockett. He argued that the U.S. should honor its treaties. Yes, Alamo's finest. You know about Davy Crockett over there?
Yeah, we've heard of him.
Davy Crockett. But southern states wanted native land. Western politicians wanted expansion. So Congress voted with a 28-19 decision in the Senate and a 102-97 decision in the House. So not by a huge margin. They passed the bill to the president, and on May 28th, 1830, Andrew Jackson signed the Indian Removal Act. Now, this did not give him the power to just start chasing the Native Americans off their lands with horses and guns. But it did give him the power to begin negotiations for removal treaties. We're going to sign this treaty, and then we're going to sign this act that's going to give me the right and the power to sign more treaties. Without this act, I can't sign more treaties. My whole life is based around signing treaties. If I can't sign treaties, I'm not a man. So please, pass this act so I can sign more treaties. And no, the first tribe targeted was not the Cherokee. It was actually the Choctaw. The Choctaw occupied huge amounts of land in Mississippi, land that was perfect for the emerging cotton industry. It was also understood that the Choctaw were much more persuadable than the Cherokee and would be more willing to move. So in September of 1830, the Choctaw leaders signed the Treaty of Dancing Rabbit Creek. In doing so, for an exchange of land in present-day Oklahoma, promises of assistance, financial compensation upwards of $6 million, and provisions allowing some Choctaw families to remain in Mississippi as U.S. citizens, they gave up 11 million acres of land.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now, I think another misconception of the Trail of Tears is that it was a mass exodus of tens of thousands of natives all at once in uncharted territory.
I mean, it's not just a bunch of people walking in a line.
Believe it or not, no.
What?
Even though every picture you look at when it comes to the Trail of Tears
is just a people walking.
Line of people walking through the snow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the trail wasn't just one trail. It was several over many years. Because they couldn't all just travel from the same spot. They came from all over the southeastern part of the nation. And they didn't just travel.
Build Highway Route 40 along following the Indians as they were forced across going west.
No, because it would have to branch off too many ways. And they didn't just traverse the untamed wilderness. They traveled down high traffic roads, through towns, down rivers on ferries, and yes, through the untamed wilderness. But it wasn't just a one and done type of thing. This was the better part of a decade of moving indigenous people from one part of the country to another. And it all started with the Choctaw in organized waves for around 2 years, the first major party of which left in the fall of 1831. Thousands were gathered together and sent west across Mississippi and Arkansas, the government promising them transportation, food, and assistance. But government planning rarely goes well. Dan, you know all about it.
No comment.
You can't, if you're listening, this is a audio medium. You can't hear the rocks in Dan's head rolling around. He is nodding his head vigorously.
And sighing. Yep.
Heavy rains turned roads into deep, sticky mud. Wagons broke down. River crossings became difficult and dangerous. Food deliveries often failed to arrive on time. Yes, there were contractors that were... Yeah, pretty much. There were contractors that were paid to deliver food to the natives and the military on the trip. But many were corrupt, assholes, or just plain incompetent. So there'd be a lot of times...
Those like modern delivery drivers.
Yeah, so it's like DoorDash. I was a delivery driver for a while. I was perfectly adequate.
I believe that.
There were times where I lost a package, but it happens. It wasn't long.
Sorry, I forgot you could see me. Hold on, if I cover your face on this.
I'll close my eyes. It wasn't long before cholera, the flu, pneumonia, and our old friend dysentery spread through the parties like wildfire. It wouldn't be an episode of Torture without a little dysentery.
Gotta love it. It's my favorite kind of Terry. Aside from Terry Crews.
Besides Terry Crews. Yeah. He's a national treasure.
Yeah. Don't you be dysentery.
Killing dysentery Crews. Think anybody ever called them that?
Guarantee you they have.
Not lived to talk about it, but yeah probably dysentery Crews.
I'm sorry, he seems like one of the nicest guys ever. So.
He's supposedly just a gem of a person.
Yeah.
And apparently he can paint like there's no tomorrow. Like when he was playing football, football players and their families would commission him to do their family portraits and shit.
Really?
Like apparently he's just an amazing painter. Yeah.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Anyway, many Choctaw left their homes without adequate clothing for the winter months, and with the lack of shelter during the trip, many died from exposure to either the cold or the rain, especially the elderly and the young. Newspapers reported repeatedly on sickness, exposure, and inadequate food for the tribe. One account famously described the route as, quote, the trail of tears and death. When the journey was finally over for those that survived, they realized that the government preparations were far from finished. The housing was limited, supplies delayed. Many families now found themselves struggling to build their own homes and secure food in an environment they knew nothing about. And over those few years, thousands of Choctaw died during the removal and afterwards. And those that stayed, those that decided to become fully fledged American citizens, well, that would be great. Except for when the Choctaw attempted to claim this right, they found that often paperwork would be delayed, their land surveys would be mishandled, local officials would be openly hostile towards them, and their claims for citizenship would be outright rejected.
You had to do that test, which would have been a very, very, very short exam back then, but You know, the whole citizenship test thing.
Citizenship.
Yeah.
Whose country is this?
Yeah. When was this great nation founded? On the blood of my people.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fail.
Oh, I forgot to say, one of the laws that they had in Georgia when they were telling the Cherokee that they weren't allowed to mine their own gold, they also made a law telling the white settlers, hey, just so you know, if these Cherokee want to sell their land, you can't stop them. That was actually a law that they made, saying that any Cherokee that wanted to sell their land in Georgia was perfectly able. You can sell it to the state, you can sell it to a settler, and nobody could stop you from doing it.
I'm pretty sure that's probably one of the only concepts of this that actually caught on. Don't like to sell your own land.
Nobody could stop you if you wanted to leave, if you wanted to pack up and move. They weren't allowed to stop you. By God, I mean, that's true governing right there.
Ironically, it's not one of those laws that I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't uphold. Like, I mean, imagine like a Cherokee trying to leave, you know, and they're like, no. And he's like, that's my right. Legally, going? I'm allowed to. And they're like, no.
Was that signed in a treaty? Because I do not read those.
You stay until we tell you. And then 2 days later, like, you got to go. He's like, but I was ready to go 2 days ago. He's like, well, you got to go right now. Don't care.
Damn it, I won this land in a lottery for all this gold, and I'm telling you, you can't go nowhere. Yeah. This is my land, and you're staying here. Yeah. You're going to live on it, God damn it.
Yeah. Congratulations. Now you're my slave. Now you can go mine all my gold for me, give me all the money, and then fuck off.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what about that $6 million or so that the Choctaw were supposed to get? Well, that went to pay for contractors to remove, transport, and supply the trip. Most families arrived with either very little money or completely destitute.
Jesus Christ. So we're paying you for this land that you're going to have to leave. We will oversee to make sure that you get to where you're going to safely and provide everything. But you're going to pay for it all.
You're going to pay for everything. You're going to pay for every goddamn thing.
And we're not actually going to give you fuck all.
And when you get there, you're on your own.
Yeah.
The trip for the Choctaw took average between 600 and 800 miles, traveling anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks, roughly 10 to 15 miles per day in good conditions.
That's how long it took our parents to get to school back in the day, apparently.
Yeah, but uphill except you had to go uphill both ways in snow with no shoes. Yeah. I heard about all that. And the worst part of it is you actually had to get up to change the channel on the TV.
I remember having to do that.
I had to do that a few times. I had to be the antenna a couple times.
Yeah. The old classic.
Hold the rabbit here. Don't move.
The noise of it when you turned it off. It was like somebody took a sledgehammer to the wall.
Now, that's the equivalent of walking from Atlanta to Chicago, from London to Berlin, Paris to Rome, Madrid to Barcelona and back again, from Beijing to Shanghai, Seoul to Busan, and then back to Seoul. And while they did it, they lost anywhere between 2,500 and 6,000 people.
Pounds.
Yeah.
All that way.
In like 2 years. In like 2 years, they lost upwards of 6,000 people from exposure and disease through this trail.
Yeah, that's pretty shit.
Now, while the Choctaw were busy being forced off their land, the Cherokee were keeping themselves occupied by suing the state of Georgia to stop them from dismantling their government. And that's where we will pick up with Supreme Court cases, all-out war in Florida, more major forced migrations, several assassinations, and what came after it was all over on our third and final episode of The Trail of Tears.
Going to get some action.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
This
we're going to
final act, people.
Yeah.
This is when the Native Americans take on the big bad at the end and come out victorious because the underdog always wins.
You wish. It's going to be the Seminoles are going to step up and finally say, fuck off. This is not working for us. And honestly, if you want a little bit of a happy ending, I can tell you now that the Seminoles are the only ones out of the 5 that do mildly succeed. So it's not all 100% doom and gloom. There is a little bit of a happy ending for some of them, if you consider having to live in Florida a win. Not everybody would.
Too many crocodiles.
Like the crocodiles, the people. Thank you to our patrons, Willow Quinn Fowler, Sam and Molly Mitchell. You can sign up as well for patreon.com/torturepod. 1 week of our cult leader tier for free. And go to torture.podview.com for all of our socials to see the episodes, listen to past episodes, contact you. There's a contact page on there, or you can email us torturepod@gmail.com. Buymeacoffee.com/torturepod to donate. Merch is at redbubble.com/people/torturepod. All Pride merch profits donated to the Trevor Project. Go rate and review. Thank you to our sponsors. Support us by supporting them. Hope everybody had a good 4th of July. We're recording this before 4th of July.
I was going to say I nearly had a brain aneurysm there. I was like, what?
Yeah, this will be coming out after the 4th of July. So, like 2 days after the 4th of July. So hopefully everybody had a good time. Everybody still has their fingers. That is a big problem on the 4th of July. People like to light firecrackers and then look at them and go, ooh, ah, and then spend the rest of the night in the emergency room with less digits than what they had. So hopefully everybody made it just fine. Dan, any words of wisdom? He's got to think.
Because I can't repeat what I said the last time.
No, you can, but
don't look a gift horse in the mouth unless that gift horse is an American official handing you
with a treaty.
A treaty. And they say it's a gift horse. Fuck it isn't. Yeah.
Then you look him right in the mouth and you say, "No, fuck you." I want your gift, horse. Yeah. Take away your gift, you horse. Oh, fuck. All right, 2 down, 1 to go.
Sweet.
Yeah. We're going to have a little bit of a war. There's going to be more violence in the nation against itself. Some people are going to see what they think is traitors. But
see a bunch of assholes is what I'm going to end up seeing.
Yeah,
plus a bunch of people.
Yeah,
who doing what they should do.
Yeah, and we'll get to the big migration.
The actual walk when they're finally walking in a straight line.
The one that everybody thinks of when we say the Trail of Tears, the Cherokee being moved off their land. Yeah. We will finally get to that.
I know what they were missing though.
What was that?
They were missing Bruce Willis's character from Tears of the Sun to make sure to get there safely.
Make sure they get there, through the jungle.
Yeah, he could have walked the whole way with them on the big line. He would have gotten them there okay.
Probably.
Yeah, but he would have fought for them.
I haven't seen that movie in fucking forever. God damn.
I don't know if it's worth watching again. It's
all right. It's not horrible.
Like a friend of mine summarized a pretty great time. He's like, walking. Avoid enemy groups. Thwart some enemy thing that's trying to stop you. Keep going. Do it again. Keep going. Do it again.
But that's the Lord of the Rings, too.
I know. But at least they go off and they show other shit that's happening elsewhere. If it was just focusing on fucking Sam and Frodo the whole time, you'd be bored as shit.
Yeah. That's true.
Theirs is the least interesting part.
Sam and Frodo? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
It's just a couple of short lads going for a walk.
And until Gollum joins up with them. And that's a little bit more interesting after that. It's a little bit more interesting after that, but
yeah.
No, they are definitely
the forest That's a bit more interesting too. But
I'd watch a Merry and Pippin adventure before I'd want to watch a Sam and Frodo adventure. And you know why? It's because Frodo is kind of a bitch.
Yeah.
Frodo is kind of and I understand he has the ring. I understand it's
eating away
corrupting him
and all this stuff. Yeah.
And it probably would have been much better if
we all know Sam's the real hero anyway. So
yeah, Sam is the only one in the group that'd be able to carry Mjolnir.
Yeah.
None of the other ones would. Pull him, smash him, put him in a stew. Yeah.
Love Sam.
Love Sam.
So man.
Like how can we take this and turn it into Lord of the Rings? That's what we started the episode off by. At the end of it, we're going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. How do we turn it into Lord of the Rings?
This whole entire thing?
The whole entire thing.
It's kind of like the displacement of the elves back in the Second Age or whatever the fucking hell it was. You know, the way they all pushed out and they ended up in
Rivendell.
Was it? No, it wasn't Rivendell. It's the forest, where Galadriel is actually based.
Rings of Power or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you know the way it's not in the movies. The whole scene isn't. None of that's in the movies because they meet her in Rivendell. But in the books, after they come out, after Gandalf fucking dies, they end up in the forest where they end up getting like the brooches and all that shit. And they meet. Is it Galadriel that they meet there? I'm trying to remember now because I know they end up in this forest that's all like golden and all this load of shit, and basically they're hiding there because the Age of Man, they pushed them out to there, and then because of what's happening out east, they say that they're leaving again, they're actually going off elsewhere and all this load of crap. I can't remember the name of it now. I'd have to Google it. But it's like that, the stuff that's covered, I'm pretty sure something's covered in like the Silmarillion or some shit.
Oh, yeah, no, that's not. No.
Yeah.
That's way too... That's too fantasy. Too much fantasy for me.
Well, that's just because it's a collection of notes, really, though. Wasn't it the Sun or whatever found all the stuff where he was planning on doing all these other expansions into the histories and all this, and
like
they compiled it into the one book. Whereas if Tolkien had been able to do what he wanted to do, then I'm sure he would have had multiple series, or it would have been not as confusing because it's not jumping around quite as much.
Yeah, you practically need a PhD to fucking understand the goddamn thing.
Well, that's it, yeah, because again, like, the way they break everything down and that is, like, they literally go, like, say, they'd mention, say, me, and then they'd be like, son of, who was the son of, who was the son of, who was the son of,
they do that biblical
shit. Yeah. Whereas if you had it all broken down across multiple books, then it'd be far easier to comprehend, I think, than having so much info in one sentence.
Did you see that they're writing a new movie? So they got that Search for Gollum's coming out in 2027. And then there's another one that's going to be coming out. They're still in the process of writing it, but it's the screenwriter for the first trilogy. Okay. And she's pairing up with Stephen Colbert to write another movie.
Actually, I saw Stephen was
getting involved. And if there's anybody who's going to stay true to Lord of the Rings, to Tolkien, it's going to be fucking Stephen Colbert.
Yeah.
So I saw that. I was like, that might be good.
He better have a role in it. As far as
he had a role in the Hobbit movie, so I mean, there wouldn't be no reason why he wouldn't have a role.
Yeah.
He's got to be in it at some point. But
yeah, I think that's brilliant. I remember seeing the thing where he had to keep it quiet for ages, and yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what you need to do. Make sure that the people who are writing the stuff know the material. I don't know if there's anybody on Earth that knows Tolkien better than Stephen Colbert. I mean, it's kind of his whole thing.
Yeah.
And I can't see him going off the beaten path too terribly much. I mean, you got to do some stuff, But,
yeah, there's always things that you have to do purely because of the fact of when you're turning like a written medium to a visual thing as well, and for keeping people enthralled in it. Like if you were to literally do it scene for scene, word for word, like technically the first movie in the original trilogy and then some would have just been the guys leaving the Shire, because it's like the vast majority of the start of that fucking book. So the Fellowship is tons of them before they even get out of the Shire. So
yeah. But I think he'll do. I think that'll be good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're still recording this episode. All right, everybody, take care of yourselves and take care of one another, and we'll see you.
They can deal with our rantings. Nerds. Bye. Thank you.